going on, guys? So Halloween is quickly approaching and I've been putting out a lot of content recently. And one of the things that excited me about this month was to see what kind of new horror releases would come out and how much I'd be able to watch, mixing it in with some classics and ranking some of my favorite franchises. And I was lucky enough to get to catch one of the films that I've been the most excited for this year. I watched a film that had been on my watch list for quite a while called Raw from director Julia Ducournau. And I'd heard a lot about this movie when it was first released. I never got a chance to catch it, but all I heard was coming of age story mixed with cannibalism, and I was immediately drawn in. What was really impressive to me was how Julia was able to tell this really interesting coming of age story with characters you care about, but use such a depraved premise to carry the story along. One of the things I love in horror is slow burn, atmospheric dread, and I think the way Julia was able to carry that film in Raw was just really impressive, to where the third act, just like my jaw was hanging open in the last scene. And as soon as I finished that film, I was like, I will watch anything this director puts out. So I saw a lot of the reviews coming out around Cannes Film Festival and the reception that her new film was getting in the books and people online, and so I was really excited to see it, and I finally got a chance to sit down and watch it, and I will say I absolutely adored Julia's new film, Titane. Yeah, before I get into the review, there's legitimately no way to talk about this movie without spoiling the entire premise. Just say go watch it. Go into it not knowing anything. It's way more entertaining that way. I will say I highly recommend it. I think the cinematography is excellent, the performances are outstanding, like some of the visual effects in the film are insane. I really loved this. I'm very much looking forward to watching it again, and I think it's definitely worth seeing. It follows Alexia, who we're shown at a very young age, and she's in the back of her dad's car. She's making the sound of the car like revving up and accelerating. Dad is clearly irritated by her in the back seat. She's making these noises over and over again, and he finally turns, gets mad at her and starts screaming at her, and the car just goes out of control into something. And then we're jumped into the hospital. Have to put like a bracket on her head. You can see that there's some stuff they had to do on her skull to make sure that she was okay. When they leave the hospital and they're walking back out to the parking lot, she's more concerned with the car than anything else, and she's like touching the car and making sure the car's okay. That moment on, you're just like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? So very quickly after that, we see Alexia at her job, which is like a strip club mixed with cars. Strippers are dancing on the hoods of these very fancy, nice cars. She's signing a bunch of autographs. People are just obsessed with her. Very quickly after that, she signs all these autographs. She takes a shower and heads back out to her car. And a guy follows her to her car. And when he gets out there, he's like very aggressive about her signing his autograph book. He like tells her that he's in love with her, and it's like very off-putting. And very quickly she murders him in a very grisly and intense way. And we're introduced to the fact that Alexia is a serial killer, which just adds to the depth of the insanity of this film. He's on a murder spree, and you see the news and the people that she's killed. Very quickly after she murders this guy, she goes back in to take a shower because she's just so disgusted with him or herself. You can perceive it either way. And something knocks at the door, and she's completely naked. She goes to the door, and when she opens the door up, the car is parked in the middle of the hall and its lights are on. And she gets in the back seat of the car, and from the looks of it, orgasms in the back seat of the car, which is like your brain goes to a million different places of like, is she having sex with this car? The car appears to be alive. It's just absolutely insane. Yeah, that's the beginning of the film, and we kind of follow her. She meets one of the girls that works at the club that's actually the lead actress from Raw, and she quickly murders her, a bunch of her friends, and slowly goes on this murdering rampage. And it's really interesting because you're drawn into her character, but very quickly you're like, I can't stand her because she's so violent and terrible towards these people she doesn't even know, and just the brutality of her it's insane. And about halfway through the first act of the film, the tone completely shifts. And I think that's what's really impressive about Julia's directing style, is that you're introduced to this concept very early on of this character is a serial killer who's also very into cars. Out of the gate, you're like, where are we gonna go with this story? And she's a very flawed and broken and damaged character, clearly has a traumatizing past. She ends up getting to the point where she burns her parents' house down with them inside. Very quickly, she has to be on the run from the police. And she goes to this place where there's all these like missing persons. Sees this young boy who's been disappeared since he was like 6. So she goes into the bathroom and she like smashes her nose and cuts all her hair off and tries to make herself look exactly like this young boy. All at the same time, mind you, finding out that she's pregnant from the car that she had sex with. She's like, you know, she'll go into the bathroom and she's using the restroom, and like when she looks in her underwear, instead of blood being in there, it's motor oil. And so you're dealt this bodily Cronenberg-esque body horror mixed in with this person being a serial killer. And then after this whole thing's happened, she goes and poses as this person who's been missing, the son of a firefighter. And when the firefighter comes and takes Alexia's character, who then posing as this young boy, treats her character like he is like he's his son, and he truly believes that she is his son. And the movie changes pace to where it's this dynamic between father and son, and Alexia's character seems to genuinely start caring about him as a person, and like feeling that connection with someone who genuinely loves you for who you are, all the while dealing with this pregnancy where expected, and she's trying to carry this baby. There's these really brutal scenes where she'll like tie this bandage wrap around her stomach so that she can hide the baby, and also tie up her breasts so that she can look like a man. And you know, she shaves her head bald, and all the guys at the fire station put by his returning and think maybe he's using Alexia's character's using him. The film, you have all these complex emotional dynamics mixed into this really insane plot line, and I think it works really well. In the hands of any other director, this might not come across as well as it does, but Julia seems to be able to handle these really dark, depressing themes, and I think there's more underneath the surface than even that. And I've only seen the film once. I have my own interpretations and the way I think that the movie plays out, especially in the third act, but being able to juggle these themes of like coming a parent with being pregnant, dealing with this newfound parent, struggling with clearly intense mental health issues, between being a serial murderer and killing your parents, and then after murdering your real parents, finding this new parent and developing an attachment to them. And there's so many complex underlying themes, and I'm really looking forward to watching this again so that I can spend some more time analyzing little details, because I think Julia's movies will definitely benefit from multiple rewatches. I was really impressed with this one. Aside from the general plot, the visual effects in this film are great, especially like when she gets pregnant and the baby's like moving around inside of her stomach. It really reminded me of like Videodrome or any of David Cronenberg's films, just that like true body horror. This is not just like a regular baby inside of her, but it's like a car, some metallic pieces that are coming out through her stomach, and like her back's ripping up, and it's motor oil leaking from her nipples, and just like insane, visually grotesque things accompanied by this very somber and quiet relationship between father and son. And it's really unique. That's what I love about movies like this. You know, a lot of people will walk away from this being like, what the fuck is this movie? Why does it even exist? But I love surrealism, and I love art house filmmaking, and I think it's really impressive to ground very personal story in some insane premise. The premise is what grabs your attention and brings you in. And then the interpersonal storytelling is what keeps you there and engaged as a viewer. I think it takes a very specific director to do this well, and Julia does a phenomenal job. I will watch anything that she releases. I think this movie is incredible, and it's definitely one of the best films I've watched in 2021 so far. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Titane. I could talk about this movie for hours. I just think there's so many things under the surface. There's a lot going on, but I think it's cool to hear people's interpretations of this movie and what they got from it, and even just like the visceral reactions of how the movie made them feel from the insane, grotesque visuals that occur throughout the film. So yeah, have you guys seen Titane yet? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, this is one of the best movies I've seen in 2021. I think that it's shot beautifully. The performances are incredible. Just everything about it is fantastic, and I think that it's one of the movies you should definitely give some of your time to this year. Always, guys, I'm putting out a lot of reviews for the month of October. I've got a lot more content planned in the near future. Once October's over, I'll just be going back into doing new release films, some classic films that I love, and then I plan on doing some director series where I talk about filmmakers that I really love and kind of work my way through their filmographies, something I've wanted to do for a very long time, so I'm really looking forward to it. If you like this video and hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It lets me know you're watching the videos and enjoying the content, and I can keep putting out new and unique material for you guys. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys, and have a great rest of your day.